Anthony Joshua, what an absolute joke. Made Jake Paul look good on purpose, held back and showed mercy against him, as I expected. But it was just, oh my word, it was absolutely diabolical, to be completely honest. You know, he needs looking into, Anthony Joshua. He needs investigating, because when you hold back like that, when you back off like that, when you've got Jake Paul in the corner, not hitting him when he had so many opportunities to, anyone could see it, and he just decided to show mercy. What a joke. You know, Anthony Joshua, you know, one of my favorite ever boxers, but now I've completely gone off him completely after that, to be honest. There's no recovery from that. I don't want to see him in the ring again. He doesn't deserve anything to do with Turki Al-Sheikh or Tyson Fury after that. He deserves absolutely nothing from boxing now after that. He's got his 50 million from Jake Paul. He can now just go. He can now get out the sport because he doesn't deserve anything else from it after something like that. He needs investigating. That's a professionally sanctioned bout. Yes, look, I said throughout he would have held back because he could have killed Jake Paul if he really wanted to. The only time he actually hit him properly was that final shot of the fight. That's the only time he actually hit Jake Paul properly, because he knew the consequences. But at the end of the day as well, the talk he was doing, and then you do think as well, actually, this is a professionally sanctioned fight. Do what you need to do and iron them out. You know, people say, oh, but Jake Paul's running away. Okay. From the very end of round 2, AJ literally had him completely cut off and could have finished him. Probably could have got him in round 1 as well. Put the pressure on him. If he landed just one big lead to it, then he would have had him. You know, that's a professionally sanctioned bout. So it needs looking into. It needs to be looked into, because I think I refuse to believe there wasn't some sort of agreement that Jake Paul had in place, that he had to look good and that his ego couldn't be completely shattered, because now everyone's like, oh, massive respect to Jake Paul. And, you know, look, he took some good 20-30% shots of Anthony Joshua and stood his ground, landing a one decent overhand. Fair play on that. But I refuse to believe that there wasn't an agreement in place that Anthony Joshua couldn't knock him out in the first round, especially. But Joshua just held his punches, didn't really want to go to the body at all as well, which I think makes things even more dodgy. Because if you really don't want to hurt someone to the head and, you know, really damage them, go to the body and break them there. But Joshua didn't even do that. He was like, oh, at the end, oh, yeah, it was a systematic breakdown. There was nothing systematic about that whatsoever. It was just an absolute clown show. That is what it was. Anthony Joshua holding back, showing mercy to Jake Paul. And then, you know, they're like at the end, oh, yeah, well, we gave you what we want. No one wanted. No, that's not what people wanted. You know, absolute embarrassment. I don't want Turki Al-Sheikh to be involved with Anthony Joshua ever again after that. I don't ever want to see him involved with him ever again, because he doesn't deserve it at all. He's got his 50 million. Now get out the sport and run with that money, because that was an embarrassment there. The fact he held back, he actually held back. There's part of me thinking yesterday before the fight, where after AJ was like, oh, yeah, this guy's absolutely screwed. I thought he actually might be going hard on him here. But then, no, everything that I said throughout in the build-up that Joshua would hold back, he did. And it was more merciful than I actually thought it would be as well. I actually thought Joshua would at least be more active with the jab. But he had Jake Paul in the bloody corner, didn't want to hit him. I've seen so many clueless people as well saying he didn't pull back his punches. He didn't pull back his punches at all. He just wasn't very good. What? It was painfully obvious that he was pulling his punches. Painfully obvious. And there was something dodgy about it. Because really, would Jake Paul have taken the fight if he was going to get humiliated in the first round and knocked out properly? Would he have really taken the fight? No. No, there must have been. It probably wasn't in a contract, because that is illegal, by the way. It's illegal. Things need looking into, though. Things need looking into, but unless there was some random behind the scenes thing, like, make sure you hold back. It's a professionally sanctioned fight, though. You can't do that. It's a professionally sanctioned fight. It's two men who have signed a contract to go in there and fight. Honestly, just take him out to the body then. No, he didn't even do that. Barely went to the body. AJ barely went to the body. Got caught with a big overhand as well. Like, honestly, taking Jake Paul 6 rounds. The amount of mercy shown. And Jake Paul is no guess. But again, look, the pressure alone just broke him. He had him in the corner, could have gone for it. And you've got pathetic people saying, "Oh, he wasn't actually pulling his punches. He didn't go on them. He was just not very good." Yeah. Well, he clearly just didn't have him, cut off in the corner. It was like, actually, you could tell he kind of thing. It was like, actually, no, I'm not going to throw that. I'm not going to throw that. That is what happened there. That is what happened there. You were stupid if you think that was a real fight. You don't know what you're talking about, and you shouldn't watch boxing if you think Joshua wasn't pulling his punches. You shouldn't watch boxing if you think that when AJ had Jake Paul cut off, Jake Paul was just able to get out of the corner just fine. No. You almost said Jake Paul ass liquor at that point, honestly. Again, as I said, he stepped in there with Joshua, landed a decent overhand and took some decent 20-30% punches off him. If AJ wanted to, he could have killed him in there, but he didn't want to. But he could have at least gone a bit harder. But yeah, the only time where he actually really did hit him is because, at the end. But yeah, you had Jake Paul falling to the floor how many times? I'm not talking about the knockdowns, just he fell to the floor, went on his knees, God knows how many times in that fight. Should have had a point deducted. But he didn't. The amount of time he just fell to his knees, he was just gassed because of the pressure. So again, if you think Jake Paul falling to his knees, just being gassed out from pressure, that if Anthony Joshua didn't want, and you still think Joshua wasn't pulling his punches, you need to get your bloody head checked. You need to get your head checked. But I think Joshua needs investigating after that, because that is some dodgy stuff. Very, very, very dodgy stuff there, to be completely honest. But yeah, it wasn't that, Jake Paul was running around the ring and Joshua couldn't catch him. It wasn't that. He could have easily finished him at many points in the fight. It's not because the 6th round, it's like, oh yeah, well, he just eventually beat him down. So that's no. He decided not to hurt him. And the only proper kind of punch he threw was the shot that finished the fight. So Jake Paul went down to Joshua's 20-30% punches, which he was able to take a bit. But yeah, Jake Paul's just been given bragging rights. So he should probably fight Tommy Fury or Darren Till next. But AJ don't want to see anyone have anything to do with him again after that.